I gave my sister the thin slice she always saves me, in front of everyone. So my sister Marissa has this thing she does at every family gathering, and she's done it since we were kids. She cuts the cake. Always her. Nobody appointed her. She just took the knife one Christmas about 15 years ago and never gave it back. And every single time, without fail, I get the thin slice. The sliver. The end piece with barely any frosting on it. At first I thought it was random. Like, okay, somebody has to get the small one. But then I started paying attention. Mom gets a normal slice. Our brother Dylan gets a big one. Marissa's husband gets a corner piece drowning in frosting. And then there's mine. This apologetic little wedge she slides across the table like she's doing me a favor. I brought it up once, years ago, just casually. I said, hey, how come I always get the tiny piece? And she laughed and goes, oh my god, you're so dramatic. I give everyone the same. Which no, she didn't. But everybody at the table just kind of chuckled and moved on, and I looked like the crazy one for counting cake. So I stopped counting out loud. I just watched. Here's the part that took me a while to understand. It wasn't about cake. Marissa's been doing the thin slice thing with everything my whole life. She's older by 3 years, and she figured out early that if she controls how things get handed out, she gets to decide who matters. She did it with a good bedroom growing up. She did it with mom's attention. She did it at our grandmother's funeral, honestly. But that's a different story. Cake was just the version I could point to. Anyway, last Sunday was mom's 60th birthday. Big deal, everybody came. Marissa made this huge deal about ordering a fancy bakery cake, 3 layers, real buttercream, the whole thing. And I watched her carry it in like a trophy and set it right in front of her own plate at the head of the table. I don't even know what came over me. When everybody finished singing and mom blew out the candles, I just stood up and picked up the knife before Marissa could reach it. She goes, oh, I've got it, and reaches for it. And I said, no, I've got it this time. You could feel the table go a little quiet. Not a lot, just enough. So I started cutting, and I gave mom a beautiful big slice, biggest one, whatever, it's her birthday. Dylan got a good piece. Marissa's husband got his corner. Everybody got a real normal, generous slice of cake. And then I got to Marissa. I cut this thin little sliver, the exact one she's been handing me for 15 years. Barely any frosting, just this sad flat wedge. And I slid it across the table to her the same way she always slides mine to me. Soft, almost sweet, like a favor. She looked at the plate, then she looked at me, and she goes, that's a really small piece. And I said, oh my god, you're so dramatic. I gave everyone the same, word for word. What she told me all those years ago, nobody laughed this time. Dylan kind of froze with his fork halfway up, and Marissa's face did this thing I'd never seen it do, where she couldn't figure out if she was allowed to be mad. Because if she got mad about a thin slice of cake, then she was admitting a thin slice of cake means something, which is the exact trap she'd kept me in for years. She goes, can I just cut myself a real piece? And I said, sure, now you know how to ask. That's when mom put her fork down, and I braced for it because I figured mom was about to tell me to stop being difficult on her birthday, same as always. Instead, she looked at Marissa and said, real quiet, you know, I always did wonder why your sister never wanted cake anymore. Marissa said she wasn't hungry and pushed the plate away. I told her that was fine. I said I'd been not hungry at this table for about 15 years, so she could try it out for one afternoon and see how it felt. She didn't touch the cake. She sat there while everybody else ate, doing this tight little smile, and every few minutes she'd say something like, this is so childish, and nobody would answer her. Dylan just kept eating. Mom kept talking to me about her garden like nothing happened, which honestly felt like the first time in my life mom picked my side of a thing without me having to beg for it. Marissa cornered me in the kitchen after, said I humiliated her, said it was mom's day and I made it about my little grudge, said everyone could see I planned it. I told her I didn't plan anything. I told her I've had that exact slice sitting in front of me at every holiday for 15 years and all I did was pass it back. She hasn't picked up the knife since.